Okay, so Mitch, we use Miro as our platform for workshopping, as I understand. Can you take us through it and show me what we do in a workshop?
Sure. So today we're going to be looking at what we do during onboarding, which is the process we take all our workshop participants through before the first workshop. We start with them, usually before a series of design sprint workshops. The only workshop that we don't onboard for is our remote scoping workshop, because that essentially functions as a onboarding session as well as a workshop in and of itself. So what we're going to go through today, I'll just scan over it very quickly. There's 3 sections just to give everybody a feel of what we do in onboarding sessions, the kind of ground rules and principles that we lay down, and then we're going to run through a bit of a mock exercise where Nicole and Lawrence are going to help us decide where to go for lunch.
My favorite kind of topic.
I wish we it's a good topic. I wish it was for real, but deciding is as good as going anyway. So when we start onboarding, what we like to do is just give everybody an intro into what a design sprint is and who PlusNarrative is, just to lay the groundwork and the context as to why people are here. Generally, this is the most uncomfortable moment for people during a series of workshops, is actually getting going, because as much as we preface it, as much as we try and give them information as to what activities will be happening, why they're doing it, what their end goal is, most people arrive in a workshop with very little knowledge of how Miro works, how actual workshopping works, what principles we use to actually successfully execute any kind of workshop. So in order to break the ice and get people rolling, generally we, as you can see on the 2 frames in front of you on the screen here, we kind of explain what design sprints are. If this was a design sprint, we'd tell people that this is a 5-day process developed by Google Ventures, and we do this because it answers critical business questions through a design and prototyping process that surfaces good ideas very quickly. We've used these design sprints to rapidly solve big challenges. So whenever someone comes to us with something which seems unsolvable, we generally recommend doing a series of workshops, doing a design sprint, in order to help them scope out, create those new products, or improve existing ones. So why we do these workshops is that we believe that workshopping is the best way to create value for the end user, for people that we serve, with some kind of imagination and empathy baked into the process. So you can see there is a list of things we tend to use it for: brand narratives, concept creation, UX strategy, experience design, web and app building, performance creative. But essentially we do this because we believe that sharing and storytelling, listening and making a connection with the people you're actually working with, co-collaborating on that, helps bring visionary ideas into reality. And the first place that people generally start interacting with our actual workshopping system on Miro here, which is a digital whiteboard software that runs online, is during this warm up and prep session. So in order to help everybody navigate the board, we generally recommend that everybody sets their navigation mode first thing. So if everybody goes over to the top right hand side of their screen, that's Lawrence, Nicole, Chandre and myself, you'll see that just next to the share button there's a settings feature. And generally the first thing we ask our participants to do is go over to navigation mode, which is the 3rd thing down there, and just select mouse or trackpad depending on what interface they're using. Then once everybody's set up their navigation system there, we ask our participants usually to go over into the bottom left-hand side of their screen here. If it's their first time, it'll just be a little chevron in the bottom left-hand corner. But once you click on that to expand, you'll see an icon once you mouse over it that says frames. And if you click on frames, you can see mine is in the list view, but yours might be in this kind of slideshow view. Then we encourage our participants just to move over into the list view by clicking on those 3 lines at the top of the frames menu. So I'm going to pull you all over to me on the board here, just so you can see exactly what I'm looking at. So we as much as this might be disruptive, it's a great tool on Miro that we use just to make sure that everybody is focused in the right place at the right time. You can see that everybody's cursors are now hovering roughly around onboarding step 1. So the first thing that we take everybody through is how to navigate using that outline. Simple 3-step process: accessing that outline button in the bottom left-hand corner, switching to list view by clicking those 3 bars that appear on the frames panel that pops out, and then you can click any frame on the board to navigate to the start of that frame. So I'll show you how that happens again now. So click once on frames, click once on the list view, and then I'm going to go back to onboarding step 1. You'll see it zoomed out a little bit there. If I go to step 2 and step 3, it scrolls through very easily. So yeah, just setting everybody up for success with the navigation mode first of all. Then once everybody's set up in terms of their navigation, the next thing that our participants need to learn how to do is just how to interact with the board itself. There's 2 main ways that we interact with the board. One is by generating and entering text into sticky notes. The second is by using something we call voting dots. That's essentially the moments of divergence and convergence. So divergence, generating information; convergence, that's where people narrow down and decide on which information is most important to them. So you can see these sticky notes on my screen here describe methods to do so. Clicking any sticky note to select it, and then if you're on Mac, it's Command-C to copy, Command-V to paste, or Control-C, Control-V if you're in Windows. And that's all you really need to know how to do to generate sticky notes. It's almost the same as interacting with a PowerPoint presentation. It's no more complex than that. We're going to try that in the next step. So this is for Chandra, Nicole, and Lawrence for everyone to jump in and give it a go. So you can see a list of sticky notes on the left-hand side of this first exercise here. So this exercise we do with everyone that runs through these workshops. We just get them to tell us a bit about themselves. It's 1 part icebreaker, 1 part functional, here's how to use Miro for the first time exercise. So you can see that there's a series of 5 columns, 6 columns, or 5 spare columns, 6 columns in total. What everybody on the call just needs to do is you'll see that list of sticky notes on the left-hand side. There's 3 questions to answer. 1 is what is your name and title, in this case within PlusNarrative. 2, what was your first job? And 3, what was the lesson that you learned from it? The only thing you need to do here is just copy and paste over these sticky notes. So let me give you a demonstration of how that works. So the first thing is Control-C, Control-V to paste it over. Then you double click to get rid of that text, and then it's Mitch, strategist. So that's usually the first step when it comes to onboarding, is just to make sure that people can actually, 1, access the board, 2, navigate the board, 3, engage with the sticky notes, enter text, copy them over, all that kind of stuff. Because that covers like 80% of what people are required to do in our Miro session. So they're really, really simple all the time. Great. So the other method of interaction that generally happens in our workshops is a method called dot voting. So this is how we make decisions, how we refine information, how we agree as to what we're committing to, what we're doing next, setting up action steps, all that kind of thing. So sticky notes, that's where we generate information. Voting dots, that's where we, like I said, refine and pare down information. So what I'm going to ask you guys to do here is to look at these. Some would call them funny memes. Other people would say, no, I'm on I'm on the latter half of that particular spectrum. But all you need to do is that you see that there's a red dot in the top right hand corner of the frame. I'll pull you all over to me again so you can see exactly what I'm looking at. All you have to do is just click on that dot, and then, oh, it's locked. That's not good. Okay, I've unlocked that. All you have to do is click on that dot. You'll see that a blue box pops up around it. You just hit Control or Command-C once again, and then aim your cursor at one of the 3 voting areas just below the 3 memes, and vote for the one that you think is the most funny or the least boring.
This was a tough choice.
Great. It's not really. I've seen these so many times that I might as well not be looking at them. But I'm glad if they do amuse somebody. Great. Cool. That was lightning. So you can see how quickly people can get up to speed with those voting dots. Again, a super simple method of showing preference, essentially. And like I said, it really just helps us refine information, because in some of the exercises that we do during design sprints, during other workshops, there can be dozens, if not hundreds, of sticky notes. So it's really, really important that we institute stages at certain points within the workshop, just to help us identify which information is the most important. Not that we discard anything, but it just helps us visually very quickly identify what is the most important to the team and potentially what we're focusing on going into the next steps.